Hello there, this is Kush from Click Trainers, where I teach you how to run an online coaching business by creating and selling online courses and also doing webinars and a lot of other things. So for that, do check out www.clicktrainers.net. And in this video, I'll be talking about one of the most important aspects of not just an online coaching business, but any sort of online business, and that is email marketing. You simply cannot have an online business without having an email list. Like they say, your email list is your asset because it's forever with you and it's forever under your control. But for that, an equally important thing is that you should have a good email marketing service provider. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to use ConvertKit, which currently, according to me, is one of the best email marketing softwares out there. So I've been into this whole online business thing for almost 7 to 8 years now, and I've used companies like MailChimp. I've used companies like Aweber for a very long time. So with Aweber, I've used them for 7 years. ConvertKit is something that I just recently started experimenting with in around August of September 2020. So it's just been 4 to 5 months since I've used this amazing software. And trust me, even though I have a soft corner for Aweber because I was with them for a very long time, I still am. It's my secondary email service provider right now for some things that I do, but mainly it's ConvertKit. And trust me, ConvertKit just blows the competition out of the water. There's no question about that. So if anyone tells you, that is giving you reviews about Aweber, how does it compare to ConvertKit, just take it from me, okay, straight away. ConvertKit is way better than these two companies. The only company that I've really heard which can do better than ConvertKit at a similar price is ActiveCampaign. So that's also emails marketing service provider. I haven't tried ActiveCampaign myself, but it does have a lot of advanced features which ConvertKit does not have. So if I do try it, I'll definitely make a video on it. Currently, according to me, ConvertKit just does everything that I want and it does it so smoothly. And I'm going to teach you how this amazing email marketing software works. Okay, so you're going to go to convertkit.com, and the first thing that you'll be doing, and by the way, about the pricing, about the real benefits of you using ConvertKit, about its free version, all these things I'll be talking about at the end of the tutorial, because trust me, the price is not going to be an issue. If you're watching this video, you probably by now know that email marketing service providers, you have to pay a monthly expense for the good ones, okay? So ConvertKit is not that expensive. Might be slightly more expensive than Aweber and MailChimp, but it's not that expensive. So price is not going to be the make or break point for you, okay? So let me first dedicate the first part of the tutorial to just teaching you how this amazing piece of software works. So you're going to go to convertkit.com, you're going to see something like this, and then you're going to click on sign up for a free account, okay? And it's going to ask you, do you use an email marketing tool in your business? So for example, let's say when I signed for ConvertKit, I was already using Aweber. So I had to import my contacts and all, and I was kind of, migrating from Aweber to ConvertKit. So in that case, you'll select, yes, I'm moving from another tool, or you can just, if this is your first time using an email marketing software, then you're going to select, no, I'm just starting with email. To be frank, it does not matter even if you select either of these. The way I'm going to teach you, none of these options are really going to make a difference. So but I still want to show you what ConvertKit shows you if you do select that you're coming from someone else, okay? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm coming from Aweber. So it's just going to basically tell you back up the moving truck, where you're moving from. Okay, so I'm moving from Aweber. So basically the import process that they have differs from each service provider. So if I was coming from MailChimp, the import process of getting my subscribers, which were already there, might slightly be different, and ConvertKit people have already done that work for you, okay? So I'm not going to make too much of a difference. So how many subscribers will you moving to ConvertKit? Let's say I'm just, right now taking an example. Let's say I have to move 1,000 subscribers. Do you have a website? You can click on yes or no, depending on whether you have, and which website is which platform is your website on. So I selected WordPress. All these things do not really matter. This matters because this is where you will be selecting your email ID and you'll be creating your password. So I already have a ConvertKit account. I'm not going to show you that because I wanted to show you this process right from scratch. So I'm just creating a brand new account here. So I'm just going to use like one of the dummy emails that I have. All right, so I've just input the details. I've selected my email ID. I created a password. I've just clicked on this check mark which says, yes, I agree to your terms. And then I'm just going to click on get started. So you're going to see this window which says, welcome to ConvertKit, let's get started. So this is where that step becomes important. If you were actually doing that migration right now, you click on import subscribers and ConvertKit will guide you. For example, this time I have chosen Aweber, so it'll have its own way of telling me how to shift my subscribers from Aweber onto ConvertKit. But let's assume here I'm not moving from anywhere, I'm just starting from scratch. So then you don't have to really worry about this, and what I can do is you can just click somewhere else, or you can just right now let it be like this. Okay, so this tutorial is going to be slightly different in the way, I've seen a lot of ConvertKit tutorials, and people just usually tell you what the features are, like the landing pages and the forms, how to deal with the subscribers, how to add them and all these things, how to send a broadcast, how to add a follow, how to have a follow-up email and all these things. I just wanted to create this tutorial in a slightly different way because I just feel it'll be more practical if I actually take an example from an online business. Like we'll take a dummy example and we'll actually have a funnel in front of us. By a funnel, I mean, if we're doing something, that we have this product, we want to sell this product, then what are the steps we should take to sell this product? And then how will an email marketing software like ConvertKit actually help us to achieve this process? By this way, I feel that this tutorial will be slightly more practical than the ones that I've seen before. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to take like a dummy business. Okay, so let me just explain you. For example, I'm just going to open up my sketchbook, and let's say that since I'm in the online coaching industry and we deal with online courses, so I'm going to stick to an example which is similar to the online course industry, but otherwise you can literally, this example is kind of flexible. You can, change it according to your own industry also. Okay, so let's say that we have got a guitar coaching institute. Okay, so like an online guitar coaching institute. And what we have is that we have a product which is basically a guitar online course. Okay, so let's say I've created an online course on how to play the guitar, and this is my main product that I ultimately want to sell to my prospective students. Okay, and then in order to generate awareness about my business, so let's say this is a new business, I have a free guitar lesson. Okay, so this is a free lesson on how to play the guitar. So this is essentially, most of you come from the digital marketing world. So this is like a very standard approach, right? You have a lead magnet, which you're going to advertise, attract leads, and then hopefully, those leads will end up purchasing your main course. So let's say this is my lead magnet. And then what should happen is that this obviously has to be advertised now, right? So we can just kind of ignore this, the main product right now. But this is our lead magnet, the free lesson. So what we're going to do is, just like a typical digital marketer, we're going to have a page on our website, okay, which is going to be, I'm not sure why I'm drawing this diagonally. That's supposed to be straight. Okay, so we're going to have a landing page, or also called as a squeeze page, where you put this lesson, like you advertise this lesson, and so maybe that's like a promo video or something where you're talking about. And then we have a form which is going to be generated in ConvertKit, where people will come, and they will fill up that form. You'll take their email address, and in return, you'll give them this lead magnet. So pretty simple, right? So this is our landing page or our squeeze page. And once they fill up this form, we want them to go to another page, which is your confirmation page. Okay, this is where you'll ask them to confirm that they've used a correct email ID by going to the email and clicking on a verification link, so that they are not using a fake email ID just to get access to the product, right? And then finally, once they've confirmed, you want them to get redirected to your final thank you page, where you just say, thank you, you are in my trap. Okay, so no, you don't say that. You just say, thanks, you are going to get, the email lesson has been emailed to you, right? So that's what you're going to say. And then what's going to happen is that once they've reached this page, that means they've given you a correct email ID, they should get an email. Okay, I'm just going to call it EM, stuff to write with this pen. So that's going to be your first email, which will just give the link to either, watch an unlisted video on YouTube or Vimeo, or give them something to download in case you're selling an ebook or something. But basically, it's going to give, this first email is going to give access to this lead magnet to the person who just filled up this form. Okay, and then you also want to have follow-up emails that keep going to email 2, email 3, and so on, right? And you're hoping that through some of these emails, when your prospect kind of knows you better, like this, like a funnel, right? They're getting warmed up from cold audience, they're becoming a warm audience, and you want to ultimately sell them you're hoping that through these emails one day, because you're advertising your course here also, your main guitar course, and you're telling them, hey, listen, you did a free course with us and hopefully they should buy this, right? So once they buy this, you also want your email software to tag them as buyers. So I'm going to be showing you what a tag exactly means if you're hearing that for the first time. But basically a tag means that if someone does purchase out of my email subscribers that I keep getting once I'm advertising this, so let's say I'm running some Facebook ads. Oops, this arrow should be like this. So I'm running some Facebook ads. People are coming on this page, okay? They're filling up the form, they're confirming, they're reaching the thank you page, the emails start going to them. Some of them end up purchasing, obviously not all of them will purchase. And then you just want to tag them like purchased guitar course, okay? So that next time, let's say if you ever send a promotional email via ConvertKit to them, like you're having an offer on this course, you're not sending it to the people who have already bought the course, and you'll be able to exclude those people because you'll be able to tag those buyers in ConvertKit. You'll be able to tag them and you'll be able to tell ConvertKit that these are the people or these are the emails that have already purchased this guitar online course. Plus, of course, I'll be showing you some lot of additional things in ConvertKit apart from this plan that we've got, but this plan will just make you understand what exactly are we trying to achieve in ConvertKit, and it'll just be more practical. Okay, so we'll be taking each of these steps practically and actually creating, like we'll be starting off with by creating this form, then we'll create these quick pages on our WordPress website. We'll put the form, I'll show you how to embed it, how to create these emails, how to connect this form with the sequence of emails, how to do this tagging, and all these things will be explained to you. One thing I should also say is that a lot of people ignore the confirmation page. That means if their subscriber comes and fills up the form, they directly want them to go over to the thank you page. In this case, you just risk, so this is called as a single opt-in. This one is a double opt-in. A double opt-in is more secure because then you don't have fake email IDs as subscribers, because remember, the more the number of subscribers you have, the more you pay to the email marketing service provider, and you don't want to pay for people who don't exist, right? So obviously double opt-in is usually preferred, but if you want to have single opt-in like this, I'll be showing you how to do that when we create the form itself, okay? So that you don't, sometimes with double opt-in, you can miss out on some of the lazy subscribers, who don't want to confirm and all these things. So we'll talk about that when we create the form. So the first step, that if you see this whole map, I know it's not the most eye-pleasing looking map, but the first thing that we'll have to obviously do is we'll have to create a form inside ConvertKit. Okay, so we're going to go back to ConvertKit and we're going to go to landing pages and forms, and we're going to click on create a form. Okay, so you get a couple of options here like sticky bars, slide in, modal. Usually a lot of people will be just using, and even I myself, I mainly stick to this inline version because it's the most basic version, and even within this you'll get a couple of options. Okay, so you kind of get this horizontal looking form, which is very popular. I've seen it with a lot of people. You get something with an image that you can edit and all. The one that I usually like to use is something like this, just join our free course, and then we can always add a field. So I always like to have a first name and an email like I'll be showing you. Otherwise you can use something like this also. I just most of my forms that I've used with ConvertKit is this Mills form. So I'm going to click on choose. So here we can just change the text here. So we can say, I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about the copywriting part. I'm just going to write anything here. So I'm going to write something like, get access to your free guitar lesson, and this lesson will be delivered to you via email instantly. Right now we already have this. I just want to add one more field, which is going to be for the name. That's completely optional. If you just want to leave it at just the email address, that's fine. But later on, when you send people emails, if you have the first name, it just, it says hi, first name. So it just feels more personal. So I like to have, a name field also. So, we'll be doing that later. So right now I'm just showing you how to do it. I usually delete these things. You can keep this. We won't send you spam, unsubscribe at any time, but you can click this button to actually just have custom field like first name, and I can move this on the top. Okay, and you can if you really want people to fill it, you can click on required. That means they won't be able to skip this. They will have to enter a name as well as email. Okay. So you can play around with the font and the colors and all. Also, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And you can even change the color here of the subscribe button and all these things. And now, if I want to remove this built with ConvertKit thing, then I have to upgrade. Remember, this is not my main account. I've just created it right now. So this is not a paid account on ConvertKit. With a free account, you don't have an option. This will be there. So we can pretty much right now, we at least are happy with how this form is looking. And then we can click on settings. And this is where a lot of things will take place regarding your single opt-in, double opt-in. So let's just go through some of the options here. So the first option that you're seeing here, it says general. So when a visitor subscribes to this form, that means they come and fill up this form and click on this button, what should happen? Should you show a success message, or do you want them to redirect them to an external page? So you will usually be selecting this one. And in this case, we've already got our flow, right? That after this, they should go on to the confirmation page, right? So once we create our confirmation page, the URL of that will be input here, and I'll be doing that later on. Okay, the domain name part you can kind of ignore because we have our own website, so you don't have to really worry about this. The next part is important, which is the incentive email. So this is what ConvertKit means. The incentive email just means the double opt-in or the single opt-in feature. Okay, so send incentive email. So that means once someone subscribes, they will get an email which asks them to click on a link or a button which will verify that they're using a correct email, and then is the time that we can redirect them to the main thank you page. That way you don't get fake email IDs. So if you want to use an incentive email, it just makes things very secure for you. So but let's say you want them to directly go from your squeeze page or your landing page to the thank you page. You don't want them to confirm, which is one step. You want them to get the guitar lesson. In that case, you can untick this, but you can say that even ConvertKit will show you that this is not the best, because without this email, your list and deliverability may be at risk. Because what happens is if you get too many fake emails, you get the problems like getting blacklisted by people like Gmail and all. They might not like it because there'll be a lot of bouncing of the emails and all these things. And later on, in the long term, it can hurt you if you're sending emails to emails that don't exist. Okay. So, but if you did want this, you just uncheck this. Okay. But we want to send an incentive email because I'll show you how this whole process works also. And finally, you have the advanced thing here, which says, change what's shown to return visitors who have already subscribed to this form. So once someone clicks and subscribes, and the next time, let's say they've done it today, and the next time they happen to open the same page, do you want to still show them the form, or do you want to hide this form, or do you want to show some kind of a custom content that you want to have here? Usually, we just leave it at continue to show the form, because usually everyone knows that they've already subscribed to this free lesson. They probably won't come back again. So it's not such a big deal. Okay, but if this is important, you can show some custom content that, hey, listen, you already subscribed to this free lesson also by clicking on this option. Okay, so before we actually input those URLs, we'll have to create those URLs on a WordPress website. So I'm just going to that's going to be our next step. So we're basically going to be creating, just quickly, 3 sample pages like this: a landing page, a confirmation page, and a thank you page. So let's go to our website. Let's do that so that we can get done. Once we have the URLs, we'll be able to put it everywhere like this. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so I'm just in the dashboard of my website, Click Trainers, and I'm going to quickly create these 3 pages so that we can get started. So I'm going to click on pages. I'm going to click on add new. So let's create our first page, which is going to be the landing page. And usually initially I just thought I'll just type a sample text here, but I do want to show you this amazing software, which is Thrive Architect. This is the software I use to build my own landing pages, squeeze pages, sales pages, everything. And I have a detailed tutorial on how to create professional looking pages using Thrive Architect. One of the best parts about or aspects about Thrive Architect is one of those rare page building softwares that does an amazing job, but at the same time, it's not a recurring expense that you have to pay. It's just a one-time payment of $67. So let me just quickly show you also, though obviously this is not directly related to email marketing, but since you are into all this, you would require good looking pages also. So for example, I can just click on edit with Thrive Architect and select just one of their, pre-designed templates like this. Okay, I'm just going to be quick about it because right now we don't want to spend too much time on it, but do check out my video on which I've given in the link in the description. where I actually show you how to use Thrive Architect in detail. So let's say I'm going to select this template for our squeeze page. Okay, so I'm going to select this one, and then I'm just going to click on import template. So that's how easy it is with Thrive Architect. Okay, and then this is going to come here, and we'll just be able to edit some things. So let's say this is our free lesson. Here I'll be able to change the text to anything that I want. This is how Thrive Architect works, and ultimately we are interested right now in this, right? So this is where we have to get the form that we are creating. Okay, so we will ultimately do that, but right now what we're going to do is we're just basically going to click on save and return to post editor. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with this, and then I want to go back to the WordPress post editor, and let's just, so that we remember this later on, let's just give it a title. I'm going to call it guitar landing page. Okay, and let's just publish this. Similarly, now this time I'm not going to do, for the remaining 2 pages, I'm not going to show you Thrive Architect. It takes more time. So I'm just going to quickly create right in the WordPress editor itself. So this is going to be our confirmation page, guitar CF. So I remember this. Okay, I'm going to publish this, and I'm going to click on one more, which is going to be our final thank you page. So the main reason I'm just creating all this is, I know it takes time, but it's just that so that we get the URLs, so that we can put this in ConvertKit, and I can show you how it works. Okay, so guitar, thank you, and let's just publish this. So I have click on view page here, I'm going to click on view page here, and we publish this, right? So I'm going to click on preview here also. All right, so we've got, right now, we are not too worried about the landing page URL because this really won't matter for ConvertKit. What we want for our form is this first option here. So when a visitor subscribes to this form, we want them to redirect to an external page. Right now, this is important. So if you did not want to send the double opt-in incentive email that you just, when someone subscribes the form, they directly should reach the thank you page. In this case, you'll uncheck this, and in general here, you'll redirect to an external page, which will be the final page. Okay, so this guitar TY is the page right here. If you go to our sketchbook, the final page. Okay, but in our case, we do want them to confirm. So in this case, there's an additional step. So we'll have to go back to ConvertKit. We'll say incentive, yes. And in general, instead of the final thank you page, we want to redirect them to guitar CF, which is our confirmation page, where we can just type in something like, hey, thanks for showing interest, and a confirmation email has been sent to you. Okay, and you click on that, and then you will get the further details. Okay, so this is the confirmation page. So I can just copy this and go here, click on this, and incentive email, we can also edit the email contents. So this is the email. The moment someone subscribes to the form, ConvertKit is going to send this email first. Okay, just asking them to verify. So you can just call it, you can change the subject lines. You can say, please verify your email, or you can give it something, like one step away from your guitar lesson in this case. And you can change this text also, and you can say, click on the button below to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm not going to do that right now. It's going to take too much time. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. And that's about it. So once they click on that, now it's asking us, after confirming, that means if I show you this again, okay, so after they click on this button, this is the first email that they get. After they click on this button, and of course, we're going to be seeing this also by subscription through a dummy email. So you'll actually understand whatever we're making, how is it actually working, okay? So after confirming where do you want them to redirect to? So this is where we tell them, okay, now finally they can go to the thank you page, okay, where we're just saying thanks. The email that you've got now will have your guitar lesson, and later on we'll be creating that email also. Okay, so we're going to Now, in this case, we're going to put it. So earlier, if you were not using the incentive email, this would have come in the general part, direct redirection. Okay. And you can also, by the way, have this, which is a very convenient thing that ConvertKit offers, which is you can also have a download button. So, this thing that we saw here, if they click on it, you can actually, if you select download, you can choose a file and you can directly give them access to, let's say, a PDF that you were giving. So they don't even have to get to the thank you page. Okay. So they can just directly get access to the PDF, and only the people who click on this are treated as confirmed subscribers. Okay. So that's another way. I usually take this approach, that I redirect them to another page and I send whatever I have to send through the first email. I always find that slightly better, but I'm just showing you what all can be done. Okay. So I'm going to click on save, and that pretty much completes our form here. Okay. Now what are we left with? We can just change the name of this form. That's not 100% compulsory, but if you have a lot of forms, then it just becomes easy to spot it if you just name it accordingly. So guitar free lesson, and I can now click on save. Okay. So form is saved. You can see our form has been saved. Now we have to put this on our landing page. This is where people will be coming, and instead of this form, I want the ConvertKit form. Okay, so that we just created. So we're going to go to embed. Now you have a lot of options to do this. Okay, for example, right now for this particular page that we saw, okay, we are using ConvertKit, right? So we're going to go here. We're going to click on edit with Thrive Architect. I'll show you both the ways. So if you don't have Thrive Architect, what exactly will you do? Like if you just had a normal post editor, WordPress post editor, and what can you do if you have a page builder like Thrive Architect? Okay. So for example, if you have something like a Thrive Architect, what you can do is you can just click on this form here, and usually these page builders will, on the left, they will show you ways to edit this form. Okay. So what I can do is, you can see here under connection, it shows HTML code, right? So I can click on this, and now it says input your HTML code of the form that you want. So ConvertKit, if you remember here, has given us an HTML code here. So I can click on copy, and I can go to this place here, and I can just insert this code. And the moment I do that, I can click on generate form, and boom, you can see it actually takes, that's why I love Thrive Architect, because it actually just takes the look of the form also. And that is just absolutely fantastic, but let's say, the reason I showed you this part was actually just to show you how good Thrive Architect is, because that will be important to you. But right now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over to, we'll just create a new page so that I can show you how to do this in WordPress also. We'll create a separate landing page. Let me just call it guitar. We already use LP, so this time I'll just call it SP. So guitar squeeze page. And then let's see how to add that form here on this page now, just by using the normal WordPress editor. So again, we have a couple of options. This time we can use the HTML way also. For example, I can just click here. I can go here. I can click on embed again, go to HTML, and then copy this, just like we did it last time. And here for the blocks, this is the Gutenberg block editor in WordPress. So I can click on HTML, search for that, and then it'll show me this. And I can just if I click on preview, that was the code, but if I just click on preview, this is what you're going to see. So if we publish this page, we click on view, you will see that we get our nice looking form. And this time, obviously, it's going to be exactly how you created the form, because there's no Thrive Architect thing happening here. Okay, so this is just your WordPress editor, but this also doesn't look too bad, right? Another way is, which is slightly, if you don't want to have that bad looking code and you don't want to copy such a big code, is that if you click on this WordPress option here, you can also, ConvertKit has their own WordPress plugin. So if I just open this here, you can download this plugin which will be like a zip file. And then you can go, to plugins here. You can, on your WordPress dashboard, you can click on add new, and you can just, upload your plugin, the file that you just downloaded from ConvertKit. And what this allows you to do is just makes it slightly better, because then, you get this shortcode, okay, which has this unique number, which is for this particular unique form. And once you've downloaded that plugin, what you can do is, and once it's active on your website, on your WordPress website, what you can do is you can just come here. You can, like, for example, you can type this paragraph, and you can just, copy this, and it's going to actually take the shortcode itself, and you can embed your form through a shortcode instead of a HTML code also. So you have like a couple of options. You can use JavaScript also, but the most straightforward, I would say, is by using the shortcode, but you'll just have to download that plugin. Otherwise, if you're okay with that, you can use HTML. Either way, it's not going to affect how your form is going to work. So let's actually see whether this form is now working for us with the flow that we intended when we made this funnel, at least the starting part of it, and then we'll keep adding things to it. So let's do that. So now to just check whether everything is working fine, so you can see we've got our main page here, which will be the landing page. So this has got this form, and then I'm just going to input the first name and email address and click on this button. And then what should happen according to our plan that we saw before is that we are right here. When someone fills up this form, the next page that it should get redirected to is the confirmation page. And then finally, we'll go back to our email. Once we're on this page, that means we've got the confirmation email, which will have that blue button which we saw. We're going to click on that, and that should redirect us to the thank you page. And that means then we'll get a confirmed subscriber. So let's see if this is happening properly. Okay, so this is the page. I'm just going to enter my own name here, my email. I'm going to click on subscribe. The first thing that should happen is it should redirect me to the confirmation page. That's what we did in the settings. And you can see here, guitar CF. This was our confirmation page. And obviously I did not write anything, but here you would probably write like, hey, listen, you've got an email right now. Make sure that you click on the link in that email so that we know that you are a real person. Okay. So right now, before we go on to the thank you page, we just go on to our email, and hopefully we should get the verification email sent by ConvertKit, the incentive email. So let's check. All right, so you can see here inside my promotions tab in Gmail, I've got this email, from the dummy account that I was using. You can see it says, please verify your email. This is the same incentive email. I'm going to open this, and you already saw this message before in ConvertKit. And now, I have to just click on this. And when I do this, this should direct me to the final thank you page where I'll be saying, yeah, your guitar lesson is on the way. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. And hopefully, if things are working, this should take us to guitar TY. You can see here. So guitar, thank you. So that means this part, at least, if you see this, we went from here to here. So that is working properly. Also, one more thing that we should check is whether now in our ConvertKit account, the email that I just used, my own email, is that reflecting under the subscribers tab or not? So I'm going to open ConvertKit. I'm going to go to subscribers, and you can see under confirm subscribers, you can see Kush and my email is there. Okay. And if I hadn't clicked on that verification email, that means I just completed the first step, but I did not verify myself, then you'll be able to find those people under unconfirmed subscribers. Okay. And unconfirmed subscribers don't really count towards your tally of subscribers that you'll be paying to ConvertKit. So ConvertKit only charges you for people who have confirmed by this method. Or like I showed you before, if you don't want to do that, switch off the incentive email, and in that case, it'll directly take you back redirect you to the thank you page. So if you go back to this is complete. Now we are interested in this part. So what am I saying to my subscriber on this thank you page? Okay, or this one. I'm saying, thank you for taking this effort. Thanks for showing interest in our course. The course has been the first video, or the first, the free lesson has been sent to you. Please check your email. That means now we are interested in email number 1. That means the moment this process finished, this should happen automatically. But the moment the person confirmed and they became our subscriber, they should also simultaneously get this email, okay, delivered to them, which will have the link to the guitar lesson, so that they're not waiting for it anymore. And this is something we'll be seeing now, how to exactly achieve this, because we'll have to use something called as sequences in ConvertKit. So let's go there. All right, before we go on to sequences, there's one important point that I made, that you just saw that the verification email that we got from ConvertKit actually landed up in the promotions tab. Now that is something to avoid, okay? And how you can avoid that is, just what I've seen is, if you just play around when you're making your form and you have, if you remember, we edited that confirmation or the incentive email content. You could do that when we were in the form settings, right? So just try to change maybe the headline and some of the words in the main email. And I've seen that if you just make it short enough, make sure it doesn't have any spammy words like free or bonus or something like that. Just make it very short and clean, and it will usually start landing up in the primary inbox, because very essential that it lands in the primary inbox, even the verification email. Okay, because if people don't see that verification email, let's say they don't check their promotions tab, that means you will limit the number of people who are ultimately becoming confirmed subscribers. So it just takes a bit of trial and error, but if you just play around with the edit the content of that incentive email a bit, you will be able to make it land in the primary tab. Okay, now let's go on to the sequence part. So we're going to go to ConvertKit. Okay, and now we have to tell ConvertKit that yes, the moment this happens, that's not enough. You also have to send a sequence of emails, at least one email for sure, which gives my customer the guitar lesson. Okay, so we're going to go, and then that is done inside this part called automations. Now, if I click on it right now, what's going to happen is, you can see it says start your free trial, and I can click on this. And then what's going to happen is that you'll basically you'll get a 14-day free trial with ConvertKit, okay? But after the 14 days finish, if you are happy with ConvertKit, it'll automatically charge you this price, $29 a month. So on that particular day where you got charged, from there on, every month you'll have to pay $29. The 14 days will be free for you. So I'm not going to do this right now, because what I'm going to do right now is, because obviously then we don't have automations, we won't be able to create sequences if I don't input my payment details here. So I'm actually going to go into my own ConvertKit account, the one that I actually use. And from this part onwards, we will take things from there. Right, so this time I've logged into my own ConvertKit account. You can see Click Trainers here, and I just had to create this form again, because obviously the form in the earlier account won't work. So I've created a similar form with exactly the same settings, and I've also right now just put that on that same page instead of the earlier form. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to create a sequence of emails. So this time you can see automations is not disabled because this is a paid account. So I'm going to click on automations, and so we will exactly talk about what exactly automations are slightly later on, but right now we're going to click on sequences. Okay, and you can see I have some of the sequences here. I'm going to click on new sequence, and I can call it, let's say, guitar free lesson. Okay, and I'm going to create this sequence, and then so what a sequence is, basically it's a sequence of emails. So right now you can see that this particular email, which is the default email that ConvertKit has given us, this is the first email that will go to your customer. Okay, ultimately when we use automations to tie this sequence with the form. So don't get confused. I'll be showing by all this, I'll be showing you exactly how to do that. But right now, just think of this. We're on the step of creating our first email that the subscriber will get after they subscribe for this free guitar lesson. Okay, so this is going to be the first email that is going to be sent immediately. The moment they subscribe, they confirm their subscription. So this is obviously going to be the email in our map or the sample plan that we've been using. This is going to be the email which tells them, hey, this is the link to the free guitar lesson. Okay, so we can just right now turn it into something like that. So let's say we can say, free. I'm not going to be too accurate about this. So let's just say, hey, here's your free guitar lesson. Okay, and similarly, you're gonna. It's always better to, slightly avoid, especially I've seen in ConvertKit, just try to avoid words like free and anything that sounds spammy, because sometimes these words can make the email go in the promotions tab in Gmail. Okay, but that's a separate topic in itself. You can read ConvertKit's own blog articles on how to avoid that. Okay, right now I'm just showing you how to do things. So in case these emails that I'm showing you lands in the promotions tab, you'll kind of treat that as okay, because these things you just have to be particular about when you actually create your own emails. Okay, and this is obviously the body of the email, so you can say something like hi. And in personalization, so this is where if you remember, we added that field for first name, right? So this is why it's important, because otherwise it'll just be hi. Otherwise, what you can do here is you can say hi and then give it a space and then add plus and personalization, and you can say subscriber first name to email. So it really feels like you're saying, hi Kush, and then you start, so it just feels more personal. And then you can just write, I'm just going to type sample body, but here basically you're going to write something like, here's your guitar lesson and all those things. I'm not going to do that right now because that's going to take too much time. And then right now it's still not published. Okay, so we can publish this. And also this is very important. Okay, so when to send this? So right now by default it says after 1 day. That means if, just a few minutes back when we had done that subscription thing, we were seeing if things were working. So I had used my email to subscribe. If this is left to this, then I would have got this email after 1 day of subscription. That's not something we want. You want to give this email straight away. So you want to click on this and you want to click on 0. That means this will be sent immediately. Okay. And similarly, okay, we can add more emails. So let's say you've sent this email, but after maybe you're expecting that your subscriber will watch that video and get done with it, let's say in 1 or 2 days. If it's a series of videos, you're giving like a free course, maybe, you can judge the time, but let's say after 4 days, I want to send another email. Okay. And maybe this time I can, talk about something else. So, this is going to be like our first, or rather a second, actually that'll be the first follow-up. Yeah. So I think technically the first email here won't be called as the first follow-up, but that's okay. So what is wrong with my spellings? Follow up. So first follow-up email, and here you can say something. Obviously this is not going to be your title. Your title will be something different, but let's take an example. Let's say after 5 days. Okay. So let's change this to 5 or maybe 4 days. I want to talk to my subscriber. I want to say, hey, just a feedback. How did you find the course? So maybe this is, you can have something like, hey, I just wanted your feedback on the free course. Okay. And then you can write a similar body to that. And then after that, I want to have another. This is going to be my second follow-up. And here, maybe you can say, hey, if you went through our course, you went through our free course, how about you check our main guitar online course also? You can kind of give the link inside the body here in ConvertKit. Okay. Basically, I'm just showing you that you can have unlimited number of emails here, so that once you get a subscriber who has subscribed to you with your free guitar lesson, now you can continuously be in touch with them and give them good, valuable emails. Okay. Don't always do promotions and hard sales. Give them valuable emails and add more to their knowledge. Okay, especially in the online course industry, I always tell my students, use your sequences to really, really add value and build a relationship with your subscribers and your customers. But that's, a topic for a separate video. Right now, I'm more interested in just showing you how these things work. Maybe at the end, I'll have a section on good practices for email, and I might discuss that. All right, so we've got 3 emails. Okay, we're just going to stop at that. And right now, this one is still in draft. So I'm going to publish this. This one is also in draft. I'm going to publish this. Okay, we're most interested right now in the first email. We just want to see if this is working or not. But right now, obviously the problem is there's no connection between this form and the sequence that we just created. And this is where something like automations will come into play. So I'm going to click on automations. I'm going to click on new automation. I'm just going to create a very simple automation. Okay, and the moment I create this, you'll understand what an automation is. It's basically connecting the two things. So we want to connect the form that we created with the sequence of email. So we are telling ConvertKit, when someone fills that form and they finally become a confirmed subscriber, which is working for us, we already tested that, start this sequence that we just created. Okay, and in the sequence, the first email is immediately. That means the moment someone becomes a subscriber, that's going to happen immediately. So you'll see how easy this is. So ConvertKit is asking me, what is the automation that you're looking for? So we are saying we have a couple of options here. I'm not going to go through most of them, but let's say this is very simple to understand. We're telling ConvertKit, when someone joins a form, okay, so someone joins a form, so ConvertKit is asking, which form are you talking about? So I'm talking about free guitar lesson. This is the form that I created. Okay. Add an event. So when this happens, click on add an event. And what do you want to add? you want to add an action, okay, which is an email sequence. So this is the action that should happen when someone fills up this form and becomes a confirmed subscriber. So I'm going to click on create sequence. And then which sequence do you want to add them to? I want to add them to guitar free lesson, the one that we just created, okay? And I'm going to click on add action. Okay, so you can see it's a very simple automation. You fill up this form and the sequence starts. And then always make sure once this is set, you want to click this and make this active. All right, so right now you can see it has 0 subscribers because obviously this is something that we're just doing for sample reasons. But let's see now if this is working. So I'm just going to refresh this. And let's see if the whole process is now working for us. Okay, so I'm going to just take a sample email and then let's see. All right, so this is our form. Let's fill this up. I'm just going to. Right, so now let's click on subscribe. And the first thing again we want is we should go to the confirmation page. You can see here now I should get the confirmation email. So let's check our email. And you can see here this time the name is Kush Sharma because obviously I'm using my main account, and you can see important, confirm your subscription, and you can see this time it landed in the primary tab, okay, even though actually I did not change anything this time. So I'm going to click on confirm your subscription, and this should redirect us to the thank you page. Boom. So this is working fine now. The important thing is we've taken an extra step, which is we've added a sequence. So this time that first email that we created should have gotten to our Gmail account. So let's see that. All right, so you can see here that we have got that first email that we just created inside the sequence after we tied it up with the automation and joined it with the form. So you can see here, Kush Sharma is a free guitar lesson, and hi John, sample body. So you can see that it works. It just took a bit of time, 2-3 minutes sometimes it can take for that email to come. So always on your thank you page here, always, I always write this, that thanks for subscribing. Your free lesson is on its way. Just give it 2-3 minutes. Sometimes it can take 2-3 minutes to come because some people might think that it immediately comes. So just write, just an additional tip. But you can see we've got our email, and now our subscriber would have been able to access the guitar lesson. And then after 5 days, they would have received the second email that we've created. And after 5 days, or how many ever days you specify, they would have received the next follow-up email. And now you can keep in touch with them through this sequence. So that's how automations and sequences work in ConvertKit. Right, so we're done with this part. We're also done with this part. So till now, this funnel or the system is working really well for us. Now is the time I told you about tags. That means, if someone ended up purchasing our main guitar course, and later on, if you're doing some kind of promotions, we want to exclude these people. So I thought initially I'll just directly jump to this, but in order just to explain you first what exactly is a tag, let me just take another example. That's what I thought, which is, we've just done this whole process. Now this was for a free guitar lesson. Okay, now let's just assume, in order to understand tags here, let's just assume that you also have a second part of your business where you teach drums, how to play drums. Okay, so these are two different things. And let's say you copy exactly the same process. That means you have a drum online course also, which is another product of yours, and you want to advertise it the same way by having a free drum lesson as your lead magnet. So now you have basically an identical lead magnet and a product to what we just saw, and then you create this entire process for the drumming people also. Okay, now so it's just one business, but you have these two verticals, right? Drumming and guitaring. Now what happens is one fine day, let's say you want to have an online guitar class, like a webinar, okay, for your subscribers. Now, what you're going to do here is, so you basically want, let's say 2 days before, 3 days before, you're having this on Sunday, and on Friday, you want to send an email to your subscribers telling them, listen, please join me in this webinar because I'm going to be teaching you something guitar related, and I'll be playing the guitar and all these things, right? So what you do is in ConvertKit, you'll basically be going to something called as a broadcast email. So the emails that you saw before right now in the earlier part of this video were the sequence emails. Okay, those are predetermined emails. Like you saw, you can even have it set to go on after a certain number of days. You can set the duration, but basically you can think of them as like pre-recorded or pre-made emails, which are only going to get activated once someone becomes a subscriber, okay, when the automation gets active. But sometimes you also want to send an email which is impromptu, and you just want to tell your subscribers like an announcement. Okay, so this is where broadcast emails are very important. And in ConvertKit, you're going to click on broadcast here, and you're going to click on new broadcast, and then you can start with creating your broadcast. And the first thing ConvertKit will ask you is who should receive this broadcast. And you can see here that by default, it's set to all subscribers. That means all the subscribers in your ConvertKit account, whoever's become a subscriber, will receive this email right now when you send this email, okay? But here is the issue, right? If we go back to this, obviously we've done this for the guitar people, but we also have another part about the drumming people, and that means they are also a part of our ConvertKit account. So we want to send this broadcast email in such a way that we know that the drum people are not interested in learning guitar. So why should they see that email and get frustrated by another email which is not relevant to them? So is there a way by which we can tell ConvertKit that the broadcast email that we are sending right now for this webinar, make sure that this doesn't go to people who have taken the drum lessons. It only goes to people who have taken the free guitar lessons. And this is where something like tags will really, really help you. And now let's go into ConvertKit, where I'll start showing you how to create tags inside automations. This is the automation that we had just created. That means someone joins the form and then start the sequence. And now we're going to add one more step, and we're going to tell ConvertKit to also tag these people. The ones who just subscribe and become confirmed subscribers, also tag them. So we're going to give the name of the tag. So for example, I can just click on plus here. Again, we choose action. Last time we chose email sequence, which is already there now. This time we'll select this part, which is add or remove tag. So I'm going to click on this, and then we can search or create a tag. If you already had a tag, that will also display here, or we're going to create a brand new tag, something like free guitar lesson. That's it. You can just call it that, or free guitar lesson takers or something like that. So let's say I can call it free guitar lesson subscribers. Okay. The name is completely up to you. So I can just create this, and I can just add this action. And now what's going to happen is anytime from now onwards, if anyone wants to, get this guitar free lesson, they'll also at the same time, yes, they'll get it once they subscribe, but they'll also be tagged. And I'll show you how exactly to use tags. For example, when we send broadcast emails, we'll be able to select a particular tag, but these people will be tagged with this. Let's say now in our example, the people who are taking the drums, similarly, you'll add them and you'll give them a different tag, which can be free drum lesson subscribers. Okay, so you have two separate tags for this. So this is one way to add tags. So this is more of an automatic way of tags, that this is going to happen on its own. Okay, and you also have a manual way of adding tags. Okay, which is like, for example, if I go to my subscribers right now, I'm going to see something like this, where the list of all my subscribers is there, and the sample subscriber that we just used is on top here. So I'm going to click on that. And here also I can add a tag manually, because remember this, when we tried this, we had not actually created the tag. So this particular subscriber doesn't have tags, and you can see here under tags, it's not showing anything, but now I can add it. So I can also manually add a tag. Okay, so these are the two ways by which you can add tags. And then let's see where will it really be beneficial. Now, before that, okay, before I show you, let's say if we are sending a broadcast email, how will we actually filter down by using tags? But before that, let's come back to the example that we just had. Okay, so we are interested in these tags also. Let's say someone has purchased our product. Okay, and then we want to tag them. So this has got nothing to do with ConvertKit, right? Because this is not happening by subscription. Let's say you just have a product, you have a separate payment gateway like InstaMojo or PayPal or something like that. Someone just buys your product. Okay, after they were seeing your emails, they clicked on your link to where your online course or your product was there, and they bought it. So here ConvertKit wasn't, let's say, really involved. So in that case, how do you add tags to these people? Again, you'll be using the manual tag strategy for this, though, ConvertKit has has a feature called products, by which you can tie up your actual products with ConvertKit, and it can work. But to be very honest, till now I have not experimented too much with this. And this is like creating a store inside ConvertKit itself. And then, you can actually, there's a tie between your product and ConvertKit. So you can directly come to know, ConvertKit knows which are the people who actually converted, because it's kind of happening in the ConvertKit sphere or the environment. Okay, but I have not used this because most of you will be doing this separately. Okay, your products will be sold separately. So in that case, how can you add tags? Again, very simple. So you can go over again to the subscribers section or the window that we just saw. And if you just scroll on, first of all, we'll have to create the tag. Okay, so let's say, if you go down under tags here on the right side, you can create a tag and you can give it a name. So this time I can say, the tag name is purchased the guitar main course. Okay, something like that. You can just, so that you remember. And okay, so this is our main product, okay, this tag. And then let's say someone bought your product. So what you can do, you can go here, you can click on add subscriber. You have their email with you, okay? So you can click on add a single subscriber, copy paste their email, and then from here, go to tags and select purchase guitar main course and click on save, okay? So what will happen is, even if that subscriber is not a new subscriber, that means they were already present in your subscriber list, what's going to happen is the tag will just get updated, okay? So ConvertKit will do that for you. So next time if you send a broadcast email and you decide not to, you tell ConvertKit, don't send it to the people tagged with the purchase guitar main course, then it's not going to send. And then I'll be showing you how to do that also. But basically this is a manual way. Another way is, instead of adding a single subscriber, let's say you've done some kind of a promotion and you have a list of subscribers. In that case, let's say it's in an Excel sheet, like in a CSV format or a Google sheet, you can just import that whole sheet. So even if you have like 200, 300 buyers of your products, you can import them together in ConvertKit. And after you do that, just make sure that you select this particular tag here. Okay, so that is a manual way of just adding tags. Now let me show you how this actually finally will help us. So let's say we go on to broadcast and we want to send that impromptu broadcast where we are telling the people, the guitar people, that we are having a guitar session, and then like a live webinar, and then we just want to exclude certain people from that. Okay, so I'm just going to click on new broadcast, and by default is set to all subscribers, so that is fine. But then we can also add another filter group and we can say match none of the following. Okay, so you'll just cut it down from all subscribers minus these people. So we want to say subscribe to tags, okay, and here we can input the drum tag. Okay, even though we did not create that, but the people who subscribe for the free drums course. In fact, let me just show you. So let's just assume that this is the webinar for the drums and we want to exclude the guitar people because that's the tag that we created, so it'll be easier. So we can say free guitar lesson subscribers, and I can just click on add filter. So that means it'll go to all subscribers, but it's not going to go to the people who have subscribed for guitar lessons. It'll only go for the people who have subscribed for the drum lessons, okay, or anything else but these people. So we're not frustrating our guitar people for a drum webinar. Also, let's say you're sending something like a promotional email because you're having your offer on your main course. In that case, you of course want to exclude the people who are tagged to your main product, just like the one that we created, which was our guitar main course. So in that case, there's a promotion. We don't want to frustrate them because they've already bought the course. Again, either you can do this way, or you can even right now, by default, you can just say match none of the following and filter subscribe to tags and guitar purchase guitar main course. Okay, so boom. If you just do that, it's going to just take your overall subscriber count and just reduce it, subtract it from the people who have done this. So people basically who are subscribed to this tag, that means they have purchased your course, will not receive that particular broadcast email. So, right, so this is finishes your recipient part. That means these are people who are going to receive this broadcast. But let me also show you how to actually create the broadcast. So once we're done with this, that we're telling ConvertKit, send it to everyone minus the people who have purchased the guitar course. So we're sending like a promotional email for our main course. And then we're going to click on next step. So the people receiving is sorted. Now actually let's make that broadcast, which is very similar to how you made the email for the sequence. Okay, so we can, again, we can give a sample title here. Okay, and here we can give a sample body. And that's, so maybe let's say, hey, this is a 30% off on our main course, and then you write the body here also, okay? And boom, that's it. Then you can click on next, and ConvertKit will just tell you, okay? And it'll just show you the summary of what your content is, what the title is, and how many recipients is it going to. And then you just click on send broadcast. So what's going to happen is your subscribers will get this email right at that particular time. That's why it's very, very important to create announcements using broadcast emails. Just make sure that you use tags and other features to just send it accurately, so you're not bothering anyone who doesn't need to be bothered. Otherwise, you can get a lot of unsubscribers. Now, let's move on to the next point. All right, so we are coming close to the end of this tutorial, but before that, I just want to show you one or two things which can also be important. For example, one of the things that we've not seen is segmenting or segments, which is very similar to tagging. That means you can create a group of subscribers, but with segments, you really can, you really have a lot of permutations and combinations to use. You can use multiple conditions to form a particular segment. For example, let's say if I click on create a segment and, you want to see something like this. Now, let's say I want to create a segment of people who are assigned to a particular tag, but within that, only the people who subscribe after a particular date. So they should have a particular tag, and also not all of them. Within that subgroup also, only those people who subscribed or got tagged after a particular date. Okay, so how can we do that? It's very easy. So basically, we'll have to use two conditions. So let's call this segment, let's say, subscribed after certain date, let's say 15th of January, and tagged to free guitar lesson. Okay, something like that. I'm just giving you an example. You can literally use any sort of condition for this, okay, because it's very, very easy to do. So you can see I'm going to add a filter. So first is going to be people who are tagged to the free guitar lesson. So let's say I'm going to go to tags and go to free guitar lesson subscribers, the one that we had created. And so this time you can see here it says or, right? But we want both the conditions to be fulfilled, right? Otherwise, it's more like you're adding. This time I want both the conditions to be fulfilled. So we're going to click here and we're going to say all. And then I'm going to select subscription date. And then after, and you can select the date here, okay? So for example, in our case, it's 15th Jan, 12 a.m., okay? So add this, just make sure that you did select all. In this case, if it was any, then it'll treat both as this or this, and it'll just add, okay? But in this case, it's kind of treating it together. So the subscriber has to fulfill both of these conditions, and then you'll get that particular subgroup of subscribers derived from the subgroup of this tab. So you can do this all, and you can then send a broadcast, just like we sent a broadcast last time with the tagging. You can also send a broadcast to a particular segment. So segments and tags, that way they just help you to filter down things. Okay, one more thing I want to show you is if you go to automations and you go to sequences, and if you see the sequence that we had created before, so we know that sequences are there so that we can create these follow-up emails, right? And one of the things that you can do in sequences is, again, to filter down things. Let's say you have a particular email in the sequence which you don't want a certain group of subscribers to see. So you can hide this one particular email or another particular email for this subgroup of subscribers, okay? For example, and how you can do that is, let's say my second follow-up email, I want to hide it. It's about drumming, and I want to hide it from the people who've subscribed to the free guitar lesson. Okay, so what you can do is you can go to this filter option here, and there you can just add a filter. It says subscribe to tags free guitar lesson. Okay, so the moment you do that, I click on add. Now you can see this turns red. Okay, this means when this email goes after 5 days of the first follow-up, this will only go to the people who are not tagged with free guitar lesson subscribers. So even within the sequence, you have the choice of making certain emails exclusive only to a certain group of subscribers. Okay, so this is sometimes very, very helpful too. All right, now, to be frank, I've covered most of the things, but I do want to talk about the pricing of ConvertKit, because that is also important to a lot of people. So of course, we saw that in the free version, you don't have automation. So that simply is just to get started off with, and just to kind of get a feel of ConvertKit. You can definitely go ahead, but obviously you're going to require automations, because without automations, there's no point in doing email marketing. So at least you will have to take the creator plan. Okay, even I'm on the creator plan. I don't think the pro plan right now is necessary for most of the people. The creator plan will be fine. Obviously, pro plan will have even more features, okay? And here's the price. That is very similar to how the other autoresponders work. That is, the more the number of subscribers you have, the higher that tally is, the more you'll have to pay. So you can see it's 1,000, it's 20, up to 1,000 is $29, And as this keeps on riding, it's 49, 79, 99. Now, this is just very slightly, ConvertKit is just very slightly expensive than Aweber and MailChimp. Those are the two that I've used in the past, but trust me, that extra cost is absolutely worth it because of one reason. And now we're going to come to the part where I told you that we're going to discuss the benefits of using ConvertKit. Trust me, there's only one benefit. There are a lot of benefits, and you've seen those benefits in action, but there's one very important benefit which makes this cost also absolutely fine, okay? Which is, I'm just going to tell you one word, and the word is deliverability. Okay, this is a very important word when you're choosing your email marketing provider. Okay, that's because you can have all sorts of features. You can have tagging, you can have segmenting, you can have broadcasting, you can have sequences, automations, everything. But if the email marketing software that you're using or the autoresponder that you're using is not very good at delivering the email in the primary tab of Gmail. Remember, most of your subscribers will be using Gmail. And what happens in Gmail, like we've seen before, is Gmail is divided currently into primary, social, and promotions. And what happens is if you're using an inferior autoresponder or an email marketing software, a lot of times these emails land up in the promotions tab. And that can just, really make all the other good features of an autoresponder go in vain, because you're not achieving your ultimate objective, which is that the email that goes to your subscriber should be seen. Nobody checks promotions. Very few people do. Okay. So that is one of the best things I discovered with ConvertKit, is that it has a very high rate of getting that email in the primary inbox or the primary tab of Gmail. Sometimes, I'm not saying all emails go there. You have to also do a bit of trial and error, just like I talked before when I was talking about that confirmation email which we saw had landed initially in the promotions tab. All right, so sometimes you have to change certain words. You'll have to change the title even on a broadcast email, or even in your sequence emails. You will have to change certain words, not use spammy words like free, bonus, discounts, and make sure that your body also, along with the title and the body, don't have too much of spammy words going on. And ultimately, within a few trials and errors, you'll come to know what works. But with ConvertKit, it's very, very easy. Okay, most of the times I've just make one or two changes and it starts to reach the primary tab very, very fast. And sometimes even just the first email that I write starts to reach the primary tab. But this is something which is the most important aspect of an email marketing service provider, okay? The ability to deliver in the primary tab, because that's not happening. Your ultimate goals of your business are not going to happen because most of the people are not seeing your email. All right. So even with ConvertKit, trial and error will take place, but overall, I found it much better. Right. So that's about how to use ConvertKit. I hope that you like this tutorial. If you feel it was valuable for you, do like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you very soon in another course. Right now, this is Kush Sharma signing off. Goodbye.